It's on Thursday. It's the Americans. It's the Red Wings. It's PGCBL baseball right here on the Americans Baseball Network.
They chose Niagara Falls because of the stadium, because of the history, because they believe in Niagara.
Welcome in to McDonough Park, the Americans and Red Wings facing off on this Friday evening. My apologies for all the technical difficulties. Very hot out here. My computer having some troubles, but we're going to try and push through for this radio broadcast here on the Americans Baseball Network. And we will get you the Americans lineup in just a moment as the top of the first inning is about to get underway. Leading Grant Moore in center field, 427 hitter, leading the league in batting average. Alan Ramos has a 15-game on-base streak. He bats second. Gavin Boyle batting third in left field. Graydon Miller, the first baseman, in the cleanup spot. Shane Prey at third after the DH game yesterday, batting fifth. Paul Delanto back in the order, doing the catching, batting sixth. Ian Huang, the switch hitter, batting seventh before a weekend away for some college visits. Evan Core at right field, the 8-hitter, and Logan Stickler rounding things out, batting ninth. They'll be facing Steven Pearson of the Geneva Red Wings. Pearson, a 31.5 ERA, 1 strikeout, and an 0-1 record. He's from Australia, but attends Kingsborough Community College in the U.S. It'll get you that scoreboard. Pitch goes upstairs to Grant for ball one. And there it is. My apologies for that. Graham Moore takes another one outside. It's 2-0. Moore on the year, 427 hitter, 1089 OPS, 24 RBIs to lead the team, and he gets hit. After 2 pitches, gets whacked on the side, and he will take first base to start things off. Next up is Alan Ramos. Ramos, a 255 hitter, 641 OPS, 9 RBIs, and a 5-game hit streak, as well as a 15-game on-base streak. This is a speedy 1-2 punch between Moore and Ramos. Moore already taking off for second. It's going to be close, but he gets there in time. Stolen base for Grant Moore. That's his 32nd of the season. That metric also leads the league. Moore leading the league in average on base percentage, stolen bases, and triples, making a great case for league MVP at the end of the season. Alan Ramos now has a runner in scoring position with nobody out against Pearson. Count is at 1-0. Gets in there for strike one to even things up. Inside part of the plate. Alan Ramos. Likely going to be at St. Peter's in the fall. He's looking at a couple different schools. The 1-1 pitch outside to put the count in his favor. Ramos. Count is now even to Allen. Ramos, one of 5 rising freshmen on the team. Lives with another one in Liam Schott. Moore has a lead towards third, and Ramos lines that into right field. It drops in front of the right fielder Turner for the base hit. Now runners on the corners. That's the first hit of the day for the Americans. So Graham Moore hit by the pitch to start things off. And now he's on third base after the Alan Ramos single, rather. Gavin Boyle up next. Boyle in left field per usual, batting .266 with a 742 OPS. 2 ball. Ramos has been subject to a lot of bad luck on steal attempts. A lot of those pitches he attempts to steal on end up going foul, but nonetheless, Ramos still in the top 5 on the team in steals. Boyle joined the team a couple weeks into the season. Took a little break after the JUCO World Series, but he has been a staple on this team ever since. For the 2nd straight year, he was here in 2024, hit 4 bombs, and has already halved that number this season, with right around 15 games to go in the regular season. Takes it upstairs to make it 3-1. Pearson has seen a mix of starts and relief outings for this Geneva team. Count in Boyle's favor, a walk would load the bases. And the Americans threatening in this very first inning. They had a chance to take BP as a team today, and when they take BP as a team, always a huge impact for these bats. Miller, the cleanup hitter, with the chance to do just that, takes ball one outside from Pearson. Miller was an all-star at midseason for this Americans team, .345 hitter, and takes one on the back. That'll bring in, that's going to be ruled a foul tip. He fouled it off himself. But a walk here would knock in a run. Steven Pearson has nowhere to put the batter Miller. Count is even. Another foul tip. This one right into the netting behind the plate. Red Wings in their red jerseys here at home, and the Americans wearing their bright blues. The contrast between the two. And Pearson, the 1-2 pitch, is lined into right center field. Caught by Jack Turner for out number one, but tagging up to score is Grant Moore. Americans lead 1-0 after the sac fly by Graydon. Still 2 ducks on the pond for Shane Prey. Prey, the third baseman, spent last season at SUNY Fredonia, now in the transfer portal. A .311 hitter and a .750 OPS for these Americans this season. First pitch is inside at the knees of Prey for ball one. Hasn't exactly been throwing the fastest pitches tonight, but has retired a batter nonetheless. A two-way player for this Geneva team, primarily serving as a pitcher, but has gotten at bats here and there as well. Count is in Prey's favor at 1-0. Next pitch is taken outside, gets away from the catcher Barron briefly, but Alan Ramos being careful and staying at second as Barron gets right back to it. So 2 balls and runners still on first and second. Ramos the lead runner, Boyle right behind him. Grant Moore scored on the sac fly by Miller for out number one. Another liner into right field. Jack Turner makes the grab again for out number 2. This time runners hold. Almost an identical knock to the Graydon Miller hit, but with no runner on third, no runs scoring for the Americans, and no runners advancing. Paul Delanto up next, back after right around a week-long absence from the team. 1 homer, 19 RBIs on the year. That home run came against these Red Wings at Sal Magley back a month ago. Outside for ball one. Americans and Red Wings played at Niagara Falls exactly a month ago today, and in that game, the Americans mercied the Red Wings 20-3. An all-time record for the Americans in runs. Line drive into left field. This one drops for the base hit. Coming around to score is Alan Ramos. He'll get there well ahead of the throw. Still runners on first and second. Americans now lead 2-0. Delanto, the new runner on first. Gavin Boyle takes Ramos's place at second, and Ian Wang up with 2 down and 2 on. It's going to be Wang's last game until right around Monday when he comes back from some college visits. Recently committed to St. Peter's. Possible he'll be teaming up with Ramos in the fall if Ramos commits there to join him. Strike one down the pike to Hwang. Pearson has given up a lot of hard contact in this inning, but has had decent command of the strike zone as well. Just upstairs for ball one to Ian. Hwang spent his first year of college at Niagara University, where he batted 182 with a 561 OPS, up to 292 with a 778 OPS in the PGCBL. Foul tip behind him for strike two. Steven Pearson's one strike away from ending this inning, but already 2 runs allowed to the Americans in this top of the first. Hwang taps home plate, now puts the bat above his shoulder with the 1-2 count. And that goes behind the batter. Runners advance. A wild pitch puts both runners in scoring position. Gavin Boyle on third now, and Delanto follows him to second. Easily ball two to put 2s across the board to Ian. Switch hitter batting from the left side to face Pearson, the righty. Hwang has seen most of his at-bats from the left side this season due to the high abundance of righties in the league. Outside ball 3, a complete over adjustment. And now the count's all filled up with 2 down. Stakes are high already in this top of the first inning. If Hwang drives in both runners in scoring position, it will already be a 4-run lead for the Americans. Taken inside near his knees, and that's ball 4. Bases are all juiced, and now Evan Core's up. Steven Pearson once again would know where to put him. Last time the bases were loaded, Graydon Miller hit into a sac fly. So Pearson at least retiring Miller on that one, but we'll see if it's a different fate with Evan Core here. Inside ball to Evan. Been an eventful first inning for the Americans. Inside pitch again to make it 2-0. Outside this time. And a 4-pitch walk would be the outcome if Steven Pearson cannot find the strike zone here. And there's nowhere to put Evan Core, so that would bring in run number 3 in Gavin Boyle at third base. And indeed, Gavin Boyle scores. Evan Core takes ball 4. The Americans lead 3-0. Trouble early for the Red Wings and Steven Pearson. Only 2 batters retired were on flyouts. A sac fly by Miller and a flyout to the exact same spot in right field by Shane Prey. That one didn't score anybody, but Paul Delanto did the job instead. In there for strike 1 on the outside corner on the new batter, Logan Stickler. Americans already through their 9th batter of the order, and they're only batting 9 tonight. We're going to change things up after struggles in Auburn yesterday evening. Count is even on Stickler. Way inside this time. Stickler has to dodge. Puts the count in his favor. It's been back-to-back walks by Pearson. Could it be 3 in a row here? Instead, a liner into left field drops in front of Madrid for the base hit. And Paul Delanto comes in to score, but the rest of the runners hold. Bases still loaded, and the Americans up 4-0. The Americans following up a night where they were really struggling to hit the ball by scoring 4 runs in the very first inning and batting around. Grant Moore back up for the second time with 2 down and the bases juiced. It's been this way for a little while now as Steven Pearson keeps walking batters and giving up hits. High for another ball to Moore. Moore was hit by the pitch his first time around. Now looking to get on base a second time, and there's nowhere for Pearson to put him. These bases have been juiced since Evan Core was up to bat. Strike one on Moore down the pike now. A much-needed strike for Pearson. Americans also knocked out the Red Wings starter a month ago in the first inning, Preston Leach, only going 2/3 of an inning. And if this continues, who knows how much longer Pearson has in the game. Americans have already scored 4 on him, every one of those runs earned. Upstairs again, Grant Moore walks in another run. Ian Huang, the latest runner to score. And Alan Ramos up a second time as it's a meeting on the mound with Pearson. Ramos singled his first time up. The Moore hit by pitch and Ramos single started off all this madness. Stickler on second base, Moore on first. And over on third is Evan Core. Each of the first 3 batters in the Americans' order managed to score runs. And Ian Huang was the 5th runner to score. So it's 5-0 Americans on just 3 hits. Stickler, Delanto, and Ramos with those. Now Allen up for a second time. Pearson has already given up 5 free bags in this inning. Cannot be doing that against this Americans order. Inside ball 1. Base is all clogged up, so stealing going to be difficult for Grant Moore here. We need a wild pitch most likely for all 3 runners to advance at the same time. In there, right at Ramos's helmet for strike 1. That was a close call, but ump says strike. Americans gonna break this game wide open in the very first inning. Up and away makes it 2-1 to Allen, who's already 1 for 1 on the day, and now Pearson has him up with the bases juiced. Hits him on the head. My goodness, this game is getting out of control in inning number 1. The Americans score a 6th run and take a 6th free bag. Alan Ramos reaching for the 2nd time. Evan Core, the runner to score this time around. Brings Stickler to third, Moore to second, and Ramos to first. Another mound visit will likely be it for Steven Pearson after just 2/3 of an inning. Unbelievable. The Red Wings have let this game evaporate just moments in. Steven Pearson heads to the dugout, and it's a new pitcher for Geneva. That pitcher we'll get you word on in just a moment. It's Brock Raderman. Raderman primarily an infielder, but ready to pitch in a game that appears all but over for Geneva in the very first inning. 6 runs allowed, bases all juiced. This game has gotten out of control within seconds, and not many available pitchers today for Geneva. Only 4 players listed as substitutions in the Red Wings lineup. Preston Leach, who got knocked out in 2/3 of an inning by this Americans team a month ago, as well as Malachi Morgan, Brock Raderman, and Braden Freeman. So the intention was that Leach and Morgan would be the only other pitchers, as those guys are much more familiar with pitching, but Raderman is one of the only other substitutions available. Going to have to take Raderman bats lefty and also throws lefty, evidently, as he warms up with catcher Zane Barron. An unconventional beginning to the game for Geneva. The Americans have been parading around the bases. Gavin Boyle will get his turn to join the parade for a second time. Already the 12th batter up in this first inning. Outside ball one to Gavin. He already walked once. Can he walk again here? This has been done on just 3 hits for the Americans. Another ball, same spot, outside part of the zone. Boyle sends it into center field. It's deep. 2 fielders there, and making the sliding catch, Dylan Briggs ends this inning. So finally, Geneva retires the side, but not without struggle. 6 runs allowed, 6 free bags, and 3 hits as we send it to the bottom of the first and give you the Red Wings lineup after the break. Back for the bottom of the first inning, and Geneva coming up to bat after 6 runs given up to the Americans. We'll give you their starting lineup. Zach Banks leading off and DHing. Chase Fogg, the shortstop, bats second. Dylan Briggs in center field, the 3-hole. Aiken Santana at third base, batting cleanup, 348 hitter with a 799 OPS. Jaden Madrid bats 5th, plays left field. Michael Sardu batting 6th at first. Tim Bowerman, the extra hitter, bats 7th. Jack Turner in right field batting 8th. Shane Barron, the catcher, bats 9th. And Christian Bermudez at second to round things out. They'll be facing Americans starting pitcher Brady Toney. Toney an 8.10 ERA on the year, and it's a foul ball by Zach Banks to even up this count at 1-1. Toney looking to maintain this Americans lead. If the Americans can score 4 more and keep this clean, they can end this in 7 tonight. Very hot one out here, so might be beneficial to them to get through this quickly. It's down the middle for strike 2 on the batter Banks, one of 2 PGCBL All-Stars for Geneva. Pitch from Toney, swing and a miss. And Toney strikes out one of the 2 Geneva All-Stars and their leader in batting average, Zach Banks, sent packing for out number 1. Chase Fogg up next, the shortstop batting 164 with a 565 OPS. Comes from Queen's University, where he had similar numbers to what he's seen here in the PGCBL. First pitch from Tony will go right down the pike, but a little upstairs for ball one. Big cut and miss to make ones across the board. Tony looks to retire Fogg, possibly on his second straight strikeout. It's inside at his knees, though, to put the count in Fogg's favor. Tony delivers the 2-1, and it's low and away. 3 balls on the count. The last 2 have come consecutively. Tony sends that one down the pike to fill things up. Brady Tony will start at Middle Georgia in the fall after his freshman year at Mount St. Mary's was redshirted, fouled off to keep the at-bat alive. Zach Banks swung and missed to start off this inning. Now Chase Fogg to follow him up. In there for strike 3. Chase Fogg didn't like the call, but he's sent packing on a second consecutive strikeout by Brady Tony. What a start for Brady. His first 3 innings of work. In most outings, he's rock solid. After that is a mixed bag, but we'll see how long Tony can go in this one. Big cut and miss for strike 1 on Dylan Briggs, the center fielder. Briggs on the year batting .250 with a .770 OPS. Oh and 1 on the count. Tony delivers. In there on the inside edge of the zone. Makes it 0-2. Brady Tony 1 strike away from striking out the side in this bottom of the first inning. Would be night and day compared to what the Americans were able to do in the top of the first. 0-2 pitch. Some chin music, and it's ball 1 on Dylan Briggs. Strike 3, you're going to have to wait for the time being. But Brady Tony looking for his 3rd strikeout of the day and 16th on the year. Can it be right here? Instead, a grounder to Prey at third. He bobbles it, and the throw will be just in time. Shane Prey with a nice recovery for out number 3. That'll do it for the first inning. Americans lead by 6 as we head to the second after the break. Back in for the top of the second inning. The second inning here on the Americans Baseball Network. is brought to you by Bully Hill Vineyards, a great place to grab lunch and taste over 40 different wines. Line shot into left field for the base hit by Graydon Miller. So Miller, the leadoff knock in this second inning for the Americans. It's the fourth hit of the day for Niagara Falls. Shane Prey coming up. You can go to bullyhillvineyards.com for more on them, as it's a runner on first for Shane Prey. Prey takes an outside ball one. Zane Barron attempting to frame that back into the strike zone. Ump does not fall for it. It was a first pitch single for Graydon. And now Prey takes an inside ball, has to dodge it. Prey is 1 for 2 today. It's 3-0 to Shane. My apologies. Some problems with the stat sheet here, but in there for strike one to make it 3-1. And the count. Prey is rather 0 for 1 on the day. My apologies for that. And taking off for second is Graydon Miller. It's a fly ball into left field, caught for out number 1 by Jaden Madrid. Hurrying back to first is Graydon Miller. It'll bring up Paul Delanto. So 2 flyouts by Shane, both with runners on. He's been hitting the ball well, but the Red Wings outfield doing a good job tonight. No errors for Geneva, but a lot of free bases allowed. Ball 1 now to Delanto. 6 free bags for the Americans in the first inning. The only base runner in this inning, Graydon Miller, who singled. Big cut and miss by Delanto to put ones across the board. Delanto. RBI single his first time up. Takes another one inside for ball 2. Came in batting .246 with a .719 OPS. The way his day is going so far and the way he's torn up Geneva all season, likely that will increase. Here's a 2-1. Inside and low at the knees of Delanto. 1 pitch away from putting a second runner on base and advancing Miller into scoring position. Miller takes off anyways on ball 4. And no throw, as he will automatically get that bag with Delanto taking first. So Delanto, the 7th American to take a free 90 in this game. Ian Wang moving over to the right side now to face the lefty Raderman. Throws it inside at Wang's knees. He has to dodge. Ball 1 right over that righty batter's box. Both runners have a lead. It's Miller and Delanto. Ground ball to Fogg at short. Out at second. The throw to first is in time. My apologies, that one not in time, but runners on the corners after the fielder's choice by Ian. Evan Core has runners on the corners. Going to add to this 6-0 lead for the Americans. First pitch goes upstairs at Core's helmet. To put a ball on his count early. A walk here would load the bases for Logan Stickler, who already has an RBI single today. Also came with the bases juiced. It's 2-0 to Core. This one he has to back his feet back. Core walked his first time up. That goes behind him and almost grazes him. Zane Barron, a good job chasing it down and preventing the runners from advancing. Evan Core has 3 balls on the count again. Takes strike 1 on that corner, but it gets away from Barron. A run coming in. The Americans lead 7-zip. Paul Delanto takes second base. Count is 3-1 on Core. And Zane Barron, after a nice stop on the ball 3 from Raderman, can't stop that strike. Another one inside. Core takes a walk to make it 2 ducks on the pond again for Logan Stickler. Stickler, 1 for 1 with an RBI single. All other runners stayed at their bases. Inside ball 1 to Logan. A nice job by the Geneva outfield last time, cutting off Stickler's hit. Stickler with 1-0 right here. Pop up in foul territory, chased down by Sardu, but it goes out of play. Count even at 1. Stickler looking to get on base for the 2nd time today. Americans already have another one in scoring position in Ian Wang. Core's at first. Stickler, the dribbler, foul. Raderman finds himself 1 strike away from ending this inning. Out number 1 came on a Shane Prey flyout. Ian Wang, the fielder's choice for out number 2. He's now the lead runner on second. As Delanto was out at second base on that one. Outside ball to put 2s across the board. A lot of 2-out runs for the Americans in the first inning. I mean, there were runs after pretty much every out for Niagara Falls. But pop up for Stickler. This one closer in foul territory and in reach for Michael Sardu. Makes it out number 3. The Americans strand 2 but score 1. Now up 7-0 as we head to the bottom of the 2nd after the break. Aiken Santana up to lead things off in the bottom of the 2nd for Geneva. And fans, this season you can get the latest Americans gear, hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, much, much more. Stop by the merchandise stand, buy concessions every home game. But right now a fly ball into left center. Core's there for out number 1. So Aiken Santana retired on just 1 pitch by Brady Tony. Tony looking to make quick work as the Americans are short on pitching here in Geneva. Tony has thrown just 16 pitches thus far. Throws that one in the dirt for ball one on the new batter, Jaden Madrid. Madrid, a .217 hitter, .592 OPS, 10 RBIs on the season, but no one to drive in but himself right here. Only Geneva Red Wing to hit a home run this season is Zach Banks. He struck out the first time around against Tony. 2-0 pitch is inside, and Madrid has to move his head back to avoid getting hit. Could be a 4-pitch walk if Tony's unable to recover here. Here's the 3-0. Finds the low corner of the strike zone. Madrid does not like this call. And it was a hesitant call by the umpire. But Madrid will step back into the batter's box anyways. At 3-1. Tony delivers. Foul tip. Rather, he did not get a piece of it. He's starting to run towards first base. Looks back at the umpire with a smile as he takes the walk. Umpire now conferencing with the field ump. Seems they're already unhappy with Jaden Madrid here. Who's been questioning the umpire's calls here in his first at bat. Michael Sardou up next, the 6th hitter for Geneva with 1 on and 1 out. The runner on is Jaden Madrid. Outside, ball 1. Brady Tony has thrown 5 balls over the last 6 pitches. You could argue it's 6 if you're a Red Wings fan. Madrid wanted ball 4 on the strike call earlier. Tony sends it outside again. Briefly gets away from Delanto, but Madrid will hold up at first on 2-0. Michael Sardou, a product of Monroe Community College, a strong contact hitter there as well. .349 hitter there and a .286 hitter with an .867 OPS for Geneva. Outside edge of the zone will be called ball 3. Tony looking to avoid a 4-pitch walk. Threw the strike just in time last time around, but ended up walking the batter anyways. This one a no-doubter down the pike. Tony knew Sardou would be unlikely to have the green light and throws it right to him. Makes it 3-1. Big pitch right here for Tony. Liner into right center. Drops in the gap for the base hit and more. Sardou's headed towards second. It's going to be close. He gets there in time, and Madrid comes around to score. The Red Wings are on the board. 7-1. First hit given up by Brady Tony here in this second inning, and it's a double to knock in Madrid. Next up, Tim Bowerman, the extra hitter. Bowerman, .452 OPS and a batting average of .07. Scoring position, though, in Michael Sardou. We'll see what he can do with him here. Jim Bowerman from Marywood. Seen some time at first base, but not in the field for the Red Wings tonight. Bowerman, not to be confused with the pitcher Brock Raderman. Both play first and both have names ending in the letters E-R-M-A-N. But not the same player, of course. Tony checks back on Sardou, now delivers just in there for strike 1 on the upper outside corner. Tony looking to finally get a count in his favor after a couple of 3-ball counts early in this inning. Here's the 0-1. Upstairs this time to put ones across the board to the batter, Bowerman. Number 7 hitter for Geneva. Their first 2 base runners led on in this inning after Tony sent them down 1-2-3 back in the first. Big cut and miss for strike 2, and believe it or not, in this inning, the Americans and Red Wings have scored the same number of runs. It's just the fact the Americans put up 6 on Steven Pearson in the first. That's making this so far in their favor right now. Pearson getting charged with all 6 of those earned runs. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Brady Tony. That's his 3rd of the day. They'll have to complete it at first base after the drop strike 3, but nonetheless, runner held on second. Michael Sardu still there after the RBI double, and Jack Turner up to bat looking to knock him in with 2 down. Turner, a .216 hitter, .670 OPS, also a .715 ERA on the mound. Possible he'll get a chance to pitch if this game continues to go the way it has. Tony checks back on his base runner, now delivers. Liner down the first base line, foul for strike 1. Jack Turner comes from Averett University. 157 hitter there, has improved a bit here in Geneva. Can play first base, can play outfield, so a versatile player in addition to his pitching. Turner lines it into left field. Gavin Boyle is right there for out number 3. So Brady Tony giving up his first run, but the Red Wings retired rather quickly as we send it to the top of the 3rd after the break. We bring you back for the top of the 3rd inning here on the Americans Baseball Network. This 3rd inning brought to you by Greater Niagara Federal Credit Union, by Geico of Buffalo, Sammy's Pizza, and McDonald's. If the Americans score 3 runs at a home game, you score as well. Any fan in the stands gets a free McCafe Frappe. In addition, McDonald's bringing back the snack wrap yesterday, and it was as good as I remember. Grant Moore takes an inside ball 1. To start off this 3rd inning, he'll be due up alongside Ramos and Boyle. A soft line drive into right field for the base hit. Grant Moore, believe it or not, he's reached base twice, but that's his first hit of the day. Also his first proper at bat. So Moore's on base for Alan Ramos again. Moore looking to steal his 33rd base. Already got number 32 after getting hit by the pitch on his first at bat. He's came up to bat 3 times in 3 innings already. Raderman, the first pitch to Ramos over his head for ball 1. Ramos 1 for 1 on the day. Was also hit by the pitch the second time around. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's inside for ball 2. So a lot of Americans are going to be coming up for the third time today in just inning number 3. Geneva allowing the Americans to bat around in the first inning. Gets in there for a strike to make it 2-1 on the inside part of the plate. Raderman, not even known for his pitching, and he's done fairly well for Geneva thus far on the mound. But the Red Wings, just 1 hit and 1 run so far. Ramos, foul ball on the liner down the first base line to even things up. Grant Moore got on with a single. And now Ramos looking to advance him. Possibly even score him with that blazing speed, but count is full on the outside, ball 3. Alan Ramos, a 16-game on-base streak that's dated back to his very first appearance. Moore takes off on ball 4, but was going to get to second anyways. Ramos takes the walk, gets first and second for Gavin Boyle. Be a big moment for his 3rd home run of the season. That would really get this game out of proportion for Geneva in just inning number 3. But 2 ducks on the pond for the Americans, 1 on a hit, 1 on a walk. 8 free bags for Niagara Falls on the day. 2 have been hit, rather 9 free bags. 7 have walked in addition to the 2 hit batsmen. Strike 1 to Gavin Boyle in this top of the 3rd. And he gets hit on the head. All 3 of the first 3 batters getting hit on the head in this game. We'll hope Boyle's all right there. Seems like a pretty soft pitch, so he'll trot over to first and load the bases for Graydon Miller. Miller had a sac fly the last time the bases were loaded for him. That is the 10th free 90 for the Americans. This happened the last time the Americans and Red Wings played at Sal Magley. Dawson Thomas had better results against these Americans the last time in Geneva, but ball 1 to Graydon right here. And a very strange pattern. The Red Wings hitting the number 1 hitter the first time through the order, the number 2 hitter the second time through the order, and the number 3 hitter the 3rd time through the order. It's like a diagonal pattern down the box score. Pop up into first base foul territory, goes out of play. Chased down by Sardu, but no use. It's 2-1 to Graydon Miller. Miller with Moore on 3rd, Ramos on 2nd, and Boyle on 1st. Boyle just got hit. Moore and Ramos got hit earlier today, but reached on a single and walk this time around, respectively. Counts at 2-2. Americans looking to add more to the party after 6 runs in the first inning and 1 in the second. That's way outside to fill up the count. Over the outside edge of the lefty batter's box. Reminder that Miller's a righty, so very far from hittable territory. Line drive into left center. Caught for out number 1, but Grant Moore tags up again. Sac fly for the Americans to make it 8-0. Graydon Miller has had sac flies on 2 of his 3 times up to the plate. The other one had a hit. So make that another RBI for Graydon. Had 20 coming into the game. Shane Prey up next. That's another high fly ball into left center field. It's caught for out number 2 by the center fielder Dylan Briggs. So another very strange pattern here. This inning, almost a mirror image thus far of inning number 1. Moore, Ramos, and Boyle all reaching in some order. A single walk and hit by pitch in those first three batters face for the Red Wings, and then a sac fly and a fly out into the outfield that doesn't score any runners. And another high fly ball into center field, so that ends the pattern right here as the catch is made for out number 3. Paul Delanto retired. We send it to the bottom of the third after the break. Back for the bottom of the third inning, and fans, you know American season tickets are just $99. Come be a part of the fun this summer at Sal Magally Stadium. Stop by the concession stands at any home game and pick up your season tickets today to be a part of this historic season in Niagara Falls. And in this bottom of the third, the Red Wings will have Zane Barron, Christian Bermudez, and Zach Banks, the Killer Bees, due up to bat. Red Wings happen to have a lot of players whose last names start with a B, similar to those mid-2010s Boston Red Sox I grew up watching. Mookie Betts, Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Xander Bogaerts, giving me lots of great memories as a kid. These Red Wings haven't had quite the success that those Red Sox did. Both happen to have red in their name, the other fun coincidence. But we'll see what they can do here in inning number 3 of action against Brady Toney. Zane Barron up first, 259 hitter, 634 OPS, 3 RBIs on the day. Americans lead 8-1, and a strike taken by Barron on the outside part of the plate. Toney already has 3 strikeouts today. Finds the strike zone again. That one down the pike on the low edge. Looking for strikeout number 4 through just 2 1/3 of work it would be. Check swing pulled back in time as it drops low for ball 1. Barron, Hillsborough Community College product with the 1-2 count, takes another inside, and suddenly this count is even. Brady Toney still looking for that long-awaited strike 3. He had the batter down 0-2, and it's an upstairs ball 3 to fill things up. 3 consecutive balls to Zane Barron, the backstop for the Red Wings tonight. Pitch hits him on the head. So Brady Toney would have been ball 4 anyways, but Zane Barron takes his base on the hit by pitch. 3 Americans have been hit today, and now a Red Wing as well. Brings up Christian Bermudez, the 125 hitter with a 442 OPS, playing second base for Geneva today. Paul Delanto brushing off some dirt and putting back his mask as Christian Bermudez steps in. Paul Delanto catching after a long stretch of Nick Pass games behind the dish. Delanto was away from the team since the weekend. Lead for Zane Barron, and it's a fly ball in foul territory for strike 1 on Christian Bermudez. Bermudez, a second-year Red Wing from Rider University. Barron still thinking about second base, but for now holding up. Americans scored 6 in the first inning of action and have tacked on 1 per inning since then. On pace to mercy Geneva if this pattern continues. Pitch from Tony is a grounder, hard hit into left field for the base hit. Runners on first and second. The Red Wings threatening in this bottom of the third. They have a good shot to keep this game alive. If they can score another run in this third inning, that would change the pattern. Make it that the Americans and Red Wings have each scored in the last 2 innings if the Red Wings can add to the party here. Zach Banks up to bat. Last time led off the game. Now 2 ducks on the pond for him. He struck out on his leadoff appearance. Showing bunt against Tony here. Pulls it back in time for a low inside ball 1. Tony was close to his 4th strikeout on the first batter of this inning, Zane Barron. And it's a liner into right field for the base hit. So this inning unraveling quickly, but Zane Barron holds up at third. Stop sign there. Bases are juiced. Red Wings up to 3 hits with still nobody out. Inning has escalated very quickly for Brady. Tony was about to strike out his 4th batter of the night, but then 3 consecutive balls followed by a hit on the head of Zane Barron, and now back-to-back singles allowed. To load the bases for Chase Fogg, Tony has nowhere to put him with nobody out. Double play or strikeout would be ideal here. Double play would likely still knock in a run. In there for strike 1 down the pike. Tony attacking the zone against Chase Fogg, who came in today batting 164 and so far 0 for 1. Tony, naturally a starter, but has been mostly a reliever for these Americans. Big cut and miss for strike 2 on Fogg. Tony in just his 2nd start for Niagara Falls. His first came in Newark against the Pilots. Also owned by Bob Oman, who owns these Red Wings. In the dirt for ball 1. Now to Fogg. Tony with another 2-strike count, looking to capitalize on this one, unlike last time around against Zane Barron when he threw 3 straight balls before the hit by pitch. Another one in the dirt. Deja vu for Brady Tony. Amazingly, the Americans only 2 more hits than Geneva, despite the 7-run lead. Mostly due to the fact that the Red Wings have just kept giving up free bags to the Americans. 10 of them in total. Liner into left field, and that's right near the third base line. Boyle's going to have to chase it down. It's extra bases for Chase Fogg. All 3 runners coming in to score. The Red Wings are back in this game. My good Wings have nearly caught up to the Americans in the hit column. Chase Fogg, a 3-run double. And the Red Wings have nearly cut this lead in half. The Americans led 8-1, bases clearing double. Will knock in Barron, Bermudez, and living up to that Killer Bees nickname I gave them at the start of this inning. Pitch from Tony fouled off for strike 1 on the new batter, Dylan Briggs. Could add him to that B category. 0 for 1 on the day, but looking to add to the rally here for Geneva. Oh and 1 from Tony. Swing and a miss as Briggs chases the outside strike. Tony 1 strike away, but this would just be out number 1 in the inning. A runner on second. Have after 3 runs scored on the bases clearing knock. Tony checks back on, struggle to get that third strike. Looks to finally get one here for strikeout number 4. Had 3 through the first 2 innings. Now a rough start to inning number 3. It's been a slugfest so far. And it's inside for ball 2. Just like that, the count is even. Every day you see 12 runs score in the first 3 innings. Even might not be done. It is over an hour into the ball game. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Brady, Tony finally gets that third strike. Out. Tony still has Fogg in second and delivers. It's a ground ball to Prey. Prey moves. Now 8-5 Americans as the Red Wings continue to threaten. We'll wait for the call, hit or error on this one. Likely going to be an E5 case on the error. 6-3 ground out for Jaden Madrid, and now Michael Sardou up to bat. Sardou, his first time up. Red Wings have now scored 4 runs in this inning. Tony looking to stop it right there and keep those first couple innings. It's after that that things start to get a bit murky at times. But Tony, charged with just 4 of those runs as Prey committed the error. It's the first of the day for the Americans. Now it's 2-1 on the count to Michael Sardou. Takes another ball up and away to make it 3-1. Any hit, and the runner Santana likely to
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the inning. But what
Into left field. It's going back. And the leaping grab by Jaden Madrid will retire Huang for out number 1. That was very deep, but caught around the warning track. A little bit more on it. It could have been out of here. But instead, the F7 as Evan Core comes up. So 1 down, nobody on for Evan. Walked both times up to the plate. Fouls that off for strike 1. Core, 225 hitter on the year. Started off very hot at 538. Cooled off a bit since then, but some great plate discipline tonight. And now 1's across the board as it's a nice up and away take for Evan. The 1-1 pitch in that same spot makes it 2-1 on the count. Core takes another one. It appears if this continues that Raderman is going to walk Evan Core. Brock Raderman has been going since the very first inning after 2 batters retired by Steven Pearson with a lot of damage. And Core takes first base on the walk. 3rd walk of the day. Looking like a Derek Gismonti debut stat line. He walked 4 times against the Tarp Skunks in his Americans debut. But a meeting on the mound with Brock Raderman as the Red Wings get ready to face Logan Stickler with 1 on and 1 out. Stickler, 1 for 2. Bases loaded RBI single his first time up to bat. We'll see if the Red Wings turn to a new pitcher here or stick with Raderman. After 8 batters retired by Brock, he will stay in there for now. But Red Wings getting ready for a new pitcher any moment as Logan Stickler, the DH, comes up. Stickler, a 214 hitter, 583 OPS, headed into the game. Now 1 for 2 today, should help his numbers. Had his first RBI of the year. Takes the ball outside there. Logan committed to go to York College of Pennsylvania in the fall. Another outside take for Stickler. Brock Raderman has very much favored that lefty batter's box in this 3rd inning, or rather 4th inning of work. 3rd inning of work for him, technically speaking. And that's a high fly ball. That one, it's runners on first and second. Sun blinding everybody here, but the Americans have had no problem hitting the ball anyways. Stickler with his second knock of the day. And it's the 6th total for the Americans, and it brings up Grant Moore. Moore upstairs, ball 1 to start things off. Moore with another count in his favor. He's 1 for 1 on the day with a walk and a hit by pitch. Ball 2 to Grant, and both of the innings that he led off, there was a walk, a single, and a hit by pitch in some order the first 3 at-bats. Moore with a 2-0 count takes another outside. Moore up for the 4th time in 4 innings. The Americans have continued to put runners on. They're on the corners after the Stickler single. Outside and gets away from Barron. Both runners going. Evan Core scores. The Americans up 9-5. As we like to say here on the Americans Baseball Network, a lot of people work 9-5, but the Americans leading 9-5 in this game. That was also ball 4 for Grant Moore, so he takes the walk as Ellen Ramos comes up to bat. Upstairs, ball 1 to Allen. Ramos, 1 for 1 on the day, a single, a walk, and a hit by pitch. The craziest part about all this is Ramos and Moore. Ramos with the it's now 3-0 to Allen Ramos. My apologies for the brief delay, but 2 ducks on the pond for Allen. He takes a strike down the pike. If nothing else for these pitchers, they have been throwing 3-0 strikes, knowing green lights are rare in this league. Inside, Ramos, both runners taking off. And Ramos gonna take first base anyways, so bases all loaded up for Gavin Boyle. Boyle, not the cleanup hitter, but a big shot to serve is one right here. Ramos in 4 at-bats, 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and a single. Gavin Boyle, 0 for 1 on the day, with a walk and a hit by pitch. So every one of the first 3 batters in the order have walked at least once and been hit at least once. Moore and Ramos had a single mixed in there as well in the first 3 at-bats. Ball 1 to Gavin Boyle. In fact, Moore and Ramos have identical stat lines to start the day. A single, a hit by pitch, and 2 walks. Foul ball on the high chopper by Boyle to put 1s across the board. Raderman has nowhere to put Gavin. Gavin, a big power hitter as well. Home run here will put the Americans up by 8. It would double their lead. Upstairs, ball 2 instead. A walk here would bring in a single run for the Americans. They've already scored 1 in this inning. In fact, they've scored 1 every single inning since the first when they put up a 6-piece. Outside for ball 3 to Gavin Boyle. Americans threatening to score multiple runs for the first time since inning number 1. The all-time record for Americans' runs came against these Red Wings, and they are well on their way to beating that as Boyle takes ball 4 to knock in another run for the Americans. It's 10-5. Graydon Miller up next. He's 1 for 1 with a pair of sac flies. Pop up in foul territory, and chasing after it is the first baseman Sardu, but it drops into the dugout for strike one on Graydon. Graydon Miller up to 22 RBIs on the season, 2 of them coming tonight. Neither of them on his hit. So a funky stat line for Graydon, and he's up for the 4th time in 4 innings, joining that group with the 3 runners on base, Moore, Ramos, and Boyle. It's in there for another strike on Graydon. Graderman 1 strike away from retiring a second batter in this inning, but goes way inside at the knees of Miller to put a ball on this count. Americans have doubled up the Red Wings in the score column. A big over adjustment from Raderman evens up this count. He had Miller 0-2. And now way inside, hits Graydon Miller on the leg. Drives in another run. The Americans lead 11-5. Brock Raderman unraveling in this 4th inning. Next up is Shane Prey. This 9-batter order working for the Americans. I would honestly doubt they turn away from this in the doubleheader, given how well it's worked so far, but this is going to be it for Brock Raderman. Raderman finishes the day with 2 2/3 innings of work, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, and 7 walks. The Red Wings continuing with their funky pattern of hitting batters, have hit each of the first 4. Moore on the first time through, Ramos on the second time through, Boyle on the 3rd time through, and Miller on the 4th time through. We all know what's coming Shane Prey's way in the 5th time through the order. Raderman's day is over, though. He was responsible for a couple of those hit by pitches. We'll get you word on who the new Red Wings pitcher is in just a moment. It's going to be another position player, Braden Freeman. Freeman, one of just 4 substitutions available for the Red Wings tonight, coming in on the mound unexpectedly, as did Brock Raderman. Raderman had his first pitching appearance against these Americans, and now Braden Freeman doing the same. First pitching appearance as a Geneva Red Wing this season for Braden. At the plate, he's batting .239 with a .532 OPS, but seems unlikely he'll get at bats given how this game is going. Shane Prey is due up to bat next as the Americans look to get this one back out of reach. Both teams struggling on the mound. There have been a grand total of 16 runs scored through 3.5. And only 1 down in this top of the 4th inning, so the Americans might not be done. This parade has just been continuous since the very first inning, and 390s have been the centerpiece of it. A total of 11 given up by 11 walks given up by Geneva, in addition to the 4 hit by pitch, to make it 15 free bags for these Americans. Those free bags outnumbering the combined hit total for both teams. Americans with 11 runs, 6 hits, and just 1 error. They've had a grand total of 21 combined hits, walks, and hit by pitches, as Shane Prey comes up next. The run total record for the Americans all time is 20. That also came against Geneva. It's ball one outside to Prey. The Americans haven't even needed that many hits to get here. Just 6 hits. Patience at the plate has been the key to this one. One's across the board as Prey fouls it off down the first base side. Shane Prey has flown out twice. 0 for 3 on the day total. The only American yet to reach base in this game. Swing and a miss for strike 2 on Shane. Prey is now 0 for his last 7. Last had a hit against the Ironbacks on Wednesday. So he's cooled off quickly here. Outside to put 2s on the count to Shane. Prey a high batting average, but a low OPS. OPS headed into the game was at 750, so not as low as it was to begin the season, but is going to lower some more if this game continues as it has. But a full count to him. Here's the payoff from Freeman. It's outside, and just like that, every single American has reached base at least once in this game. Also drives in another run to make it 12-5. Alan Ramos scores on the walk by Shane Prey. Plate discipline has been the key for the runs to just keep pouring in. And Paul Delanto will get a 4th crack at the action right here. Swing and a miss for strike 1 on Paul. He's 1 for 2 on the day with a walk. That walk, 1 of 12 for the Americans in this game. Up the middle, fielded by Bermudez, out at second. The throw to first will not be in time. Delanto is safe. A run coming in to make it 13-5 Americans on the fielder's choice. So another run scoring on a non-hit. Ian Huang coming up to bat as Gavin Boyle was just plated by Delanto, who's on first base with Miller on third. Shane Prey was tagged out at second. Inside, ball 1 to Ian Huang. And Freeman responsible for Delanto, but not for Graydon Miller. That was Raderman's batter. 6 earned runs for each of the first 2 Geneva pitchers. We'll see if that pattern continues for Freeman here. Right now, 2-0 on the count with 2 down to Ian Huang, who's back on the left side. He's been back and forth between the left and right side in this game. Fly ball into left field. And there for the catch is Jada Madrid. Ian Huang, the final out in this inning, but the Americans tack on 5 more to make it 13-5. Double their lead. We send it to the bottom of the, more than double their lead rather, but we send it to the bottom of the 4th after the break. Brady Tony back out for the bottom of the 4th inning, as we remind you to follow us on all the American social media platforms. This season you can connect with the Americans like never before. Make sure you follow the team on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Those ats are on your screen right now. Big shout out to our social media managers, Frankie Morris and Leah Fraun, for keeping those up and running all season long. Brady Tony back in for a fourth inning of work after a rough go in the third in which he gave up 4 runs, facing 8 batters. Due up in this inning, Tim Bowerman, Jack Turner, and Zane Barron for the second time of the day. Bowerman is 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout. Let's see if Tony can strike him out a second time. Brady has 4 of them today. First pitch is lined, foul down the first base line. Almost caught by a Red Wing there. Would be an out in a Bananas game, but everywhere else, not so much. The 0-1 pitch inside as the batter Bowerman has to duck. Count evens up on Tim. Bowerman, the extra hitter today, will be followed up by Jack Turner and Zane Barron, the right fielder and catcher, respectively. It's a high inside ball, 2 on the breaking ball from Brady Tony. Tony with the count in his favor. Delivers, and it's lined up the middle. Bounces. Ramos sends it to Miller for out number 1. High chopper on the ground out. 6-3 to retire Tim Bowerman. Jack Turner up next, the right fielder. Turner 0 for 1 on the day. Big cut and miss right there as it goes in the dirt. The chase on the low pitch helping Tony out. With 1 down and nobody on. Turner from Averett University, a 2-way player. Struggling at the plate for the most part. 1s across the board to him here. Tony hits the batter on the head. Jack Turner takes first base. A second batter hit by pitch by Brady Tony. The 6th total hit by pitch in this game. That's unbelievable. Not every day you see that. Not every day you want to see that. 1 down, 1 on for Zane Barron. It's the Red Wings nearing the end of their second time through the order. Barron is without an at-bat so far on the day. Came around to score. Line drive into right field for the base hit. Runners on first and second now for the Red Wings. They are threatening with Christian Bermudez up to bat, who already has a hit. 1 for 1 with a single. These killer bees looking to do it again for the second straight inning. Bermudez, a Division I bat out of Rider University, looking for his second knock of the night with 2 ducks on the pond. Tony checks back on the first of them. Jack Turner now delivers high over the head of Christian Bermudez for strike. Ball 1, rather. Red Wings just got their 5th hit of the day. Ties their number in the run column. Americans have 13 runs on just 6 hits due to the large amount of free bags they've been allowed. An outside ball 2 puts the count well in Bermudez's favor. Just 1 lefty in this entire Geneva lineup. It's the leadoff man, Zach Banks. He is on deck. Puts the advantage in the righty Tony's hands. Looking to recover in this 2-0 count. Bunt shown, and that's a dribbler down the first base line. Ends up foul for strike 1. Everyone has to go back. There have been 3 total innings between the Americans and Red Wings where 4 or more runs have been scored. The Americans top of the first with 6 runs, the Red Wings bottom of the third with 4 runs, and then the Americans responding in the top of the fourth with 5 more. Up by 8. Runners have a lead, and taking off for third is Jack Turner. Turner with the steal. It's runners on the corners to Christian Bermudez on ball 3. A walk here would load the bases, and there would be nowhere to put the leadoff man, Zach Banks, who's 1 for 2. We'll be right back in just a moment. Count is full. Just received a brief delivery here. Sorry for the interruption. But Bermudez with runners on the corners lines it right to Alan Ramos. It bounces out at second. And now not in time for the out at first. Bermudez taking second base with 2 down. So runners on second and third for the leadoff man, Zach Banks. Banks already has 1 hit, looking for a second. Rather, a run scored there from third, so it's 13-6. My apologies for the confusion there. But the RBI ground out for Christian Bermudez. Banks has a runner on second as the Red Wings narrow the lead to 7. Both teams have more runs than hits. In there for strike 1 on the inside part of the zone. Brady Toney just barely finding that edge of the lefty batter's box to put a strike on Banks. He's already struck out Banks once. But Banks won the second battle for a hit. Toney with the 0-1 count. Sends it outside to even things up. Banks leading the Red Wings in batting average. Came in at .372, 1 for 2 on the day. Should bring that up if the pace continues. Toney checks on his base runner. Bermudez now delivers inside for ball 2. Bermudez coming all the way to second base after an out at second, followed by an error, the second error of the day for the Americans. Now 3-1. And it's ball 4 after an early strike 1, 4 consecutive balls by Brady Toney. It's been a rough go for Brady here, but the Americans' bats have had his back all day long, thankfully for him. Next up is Chase Fogg. He had the bases clearing double last time around, so he's 1 for 2 on the day. Tony looks back, now delivers. It's a swing and a miss. Fogg, just like Zach Banks, struck out the time he was retired in the first time through the order. We'll see if Tony can repeat that success here or if it'll be another one-strike count turned into a walk. 2 ducks on the pond for Tony. Check swing, and they will call it a ball as it's pulled back in time. Runners advance. Now second and third for Geneva with 2 down. Americans need an out badly with both runners in scoring position. Double steal for the Red Wings. And Chase Fogg looking to clear the bases again. Tony readies for the 1-1. He delivers. Down the pike for strike 2. Brady Tony's 1 strike away on Fogg. Would be the second time he strikes him out. Sun beginning to set here at McDonough Park. A beautiful but warm evening. Big cut and miss by Chase Fogg. Down he goes. That's out number 3 for the Americans. They allow just 1 run in this bottom of the 4th. We send it to the 5th after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
Back for the top of the 5th inning as Evan Core will kick things off for the Americans against Braden Freeman. Be followed up by Logan Stickler and Grant Moore in this inning. Top of the 5th, as well as the entire 5th inning, brought to you by Tropical Heating and Cooling. Call 716-870-0753 for expert service. St. Barron attempted to frame that for the strike, but it's ball 1 on Evan Core early here. Another one taken for ball 2. Get you an update around the PGCBL in just a moment. Core lines that into center field, and it'll go right to Dylan Briggs for out number 1. So Freeman has his first batter retired on just a couple of pitches, and Logan Stickler is up next. Around the league, the Tarp Skunks leading the Ironbacks 7-1 in Jamestown. Pilots leading the Double A's 1-0 in the top of the 6th. And the Muck Dogs up 3-0 on the Pios in the bottom of the 6th. All three of those games in inning number 6 in some capacity. This one still in the 5th. And Logan Stickler gets whacked. Maybe the pattern's going the opposite direction this time around. But Stickler, the 5th batter whacked by the Red Wings. Alongside Grant Moore, Alan Ramos, Gavin Boyle, and Graydon Miller. The first 4 hitters, the first 4 times through were hit. And now Logan Stickler on the 4th time through. Hit at the end of the order. Grant Moore will bat next for these Americans. The leadoff man has a runner on first. Takes it upstairs for ball 1. Moore is 1 for 1 on the day with a hit by pitch and 2 walks. Takes another one, this time outside for ball 2. Moore has knocked in 1 and came around to score 3 times. Swing and a miss. Puts the first strike on the count. Stickler thinking about second, but holds up there. Moore still has this count in his favor. Swings again. It's a foul tip to even things up. Americans looking to keep their streak going of consecutive innings in which they've scored a run. Line shot down the third base line, foul and out of play. Keeps Moore alive, but no hit there for Grant. It's one ballpark where it's possible a line drive could go for a home run. Another liner into center field, right to Briggs, where Core's ball went for out number 2. Moore and Core both retired on flyouts. That sandwiches the Stickler hit by pitch. Alan Ramos batting next. In the 5th inning, Moore and Ramos have seen action 5 times at the plate. Americans just keep going round and round this order. Fly ball down the first base line, foul for strike 1 on Allen. With now 2 down. Americans outscoring the Red Wings by 7, only out hitting them by 1 though. There's a line drive into center field. Briggs is there again. He's been very busy this inning. Catches 3 after the break. Bottom of the 5th inning here from McDonough Park. And fans, you or someone you know have a birthday coming up. Why not spend it with the Americans? Birthday packages at the ballpark include 10 tickets, 2 large Sammy's pizzas, 10 drinks, customized Wegmans cake, autographed Americans baseballs, and special recognition at the game starting at just $175. Sign up online at www.niagarafallsamericans.com. Sponsored by Wegmans and Sammy's Pizza. First pitch of the inning is in the dirt to Dylan Briggs to make it 1-0. Briggs takes one in there on the inside edge for strike one. Counts even on him. Dylan Briggs 0 for 2 on the day with a strikeout. The 1-1 pitch. Liner over the head of Graydon Miller for the base hit and more. Briggs rounding first towards second base. We'll have the stand-up double here to start off this inning. Also due up for the Red Wings are Aiken Santana and Jaden Madrid. A leadoff double by Dylan Briggs means Michael Sardu will likely also come up in this bottom of the fifth. Santana 0 for 2 on the day as well. Just like Briggs was headed into this at bat. This inning, rather. Santana, one of 2 PGCBL All-Stars alongside Zach Banks for the Red Wings. First pitch lined into left center field. Boyles chasing it down, makes the grab for out number 1. This one in much more reachable territory for the Americans' defense. It'll bring up Jaden Madrid. Madrid 0 for 1 on the day with a walk. First pitch in there on the outside edge of the zone for strike 1. Fastball angled towards the outside, but still found the strike zone on its way out. Tony bringing the heat, trying to strike out another batter. He's struck out 5 today, but instead a fly ball into right field, caught by Core for out number 2. Briggs still at second base after consecutive outs for the Americans. Fly out to left field and now a fly out to right field by Madrid. Michael Sardu up next. Will indeed come up to bat, but still with just the sole runner on second and now 2 down. Sardu 1 for 2 on the day at an RBI double. His first time up in the second inning. Scored the sole Geneva run in that inning. Way inside, and Sardu has to duck. Ball 1 to avoid getting hit on the face. Tony gonna get back in this count at 1-0. Outside ball 2, an over adjustment by Brady. Michael Sardu looking to walk and put a second duck on the pond for Tim Bowerman. Bowerman yet to get a hit today, but could still threaten with how this pitching has gone. And Brady Tony, despite giving up 6 runs, still in this game for 2 reasons. One being the shortage of Americans pitchers available, and the other being the amount of cushion the Americans have with this 7-run lead. Still don't want to walk this man. 3 consecutive balls to make it 81 pitches for Tony. Here's the 3-0. In the dirt, short of the plate for ball 4, and as it gets away from Delanto, it'll be runners on the corners. Dylan Briggs takes third, Sardu walks, and Tim Bowerman is up next. Brady Tony with 2 down and 2 on. Looking to end this inning without any damage right here. He's given up runs in each of the last 3 innings. Only 5 of his 6 runs allowed have been earned, but nonetheless a rough day for Tony. Been overshadowed at the very least by the strong day for the Americans' bats. But more a rough one for Geneva pitching, if anything. The Americans and Red Wings tied in the hit column at 6. It's strike 1 to the new batter, Bowerman. The Red Wings have hit 5 Americans and walked 12. 17 total free bags in 5 innings. That what you want to see if you're a Geneva fan. That gets away from Paul Delanto on the wild pitch. Run coming in to score, and just barely safe. Tony came to cover home plate, but not in time. And on ball 1, it's a runner on second and a run scoring. Dylan Briggs comes in on the wild pitch. Tim Bowerman's still up to bat. He's 0 for 2, and if he's patient enough, can get on base, given how this has gone. Sun just about to set here at McDonough Park. Lights are on, and they are bright for both sides in this game. Tony, the 1-1 pitch. Ground ball to Prey. We'll see if he can redeem himself here. To throw to first is in time for out number 3. So the Americans finally get that 3rd out after giving up run number 7 to Geneva. We'll send it to the top of the 6th after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
Top of the 6th here from McDonough Park. Gavin Boyle up first for the Americans. He'll be followed up in this inning by Graydon Miller and Shane Prey. Top of the 6th inning is, but a fly ball into right field. It's going back and gets out of here. Gavin Boyle, his 3rd home run of the season. That had so much carry on it. It was a rocket into right center. Same spot as his last 2 home runs. And the Americans now lead 14-7. They double up the Red Wings again. How about that for Gavin Boyle? Hadn't had a hit yet tonight. His first coming on a moonshot. Makes it 14-7. Graydon Miller up next. He recently just had his first home run for the team. But as I was saying, this top of the 6th inning sponsored by Niagara County Legislator Chris Robins, Local Laborers 91, and Wegmans. Foul tip by Miller for strike 1 on the count. Takes one for the ball to even things up. Another pitch low to put the count in Miller's favor. Graydon Miller with a pair of sac flies today, both of the ones that the Americans have had in this game. Also 1 for 1. Liner gonna drop right into the glove of the second baseman Bermudez. Ends up being more of a pop-up, but Miller retired for out number 1. Shane Prey up next. 0 for 3 on the day. Prey swings and misses a big cut for strike 1. Americans up to 14 runs. My apologies for that. But one's across the board to Prey. Line shot into left center, drops for Prey's first hit of the day. Shane Prey joins the party and gets on base for the second time today. 8th hit of the day for the Americans. Paul Delanto up next, looking to advance him. Delanto 1 for 3 today. All but 2 Americans batters have had at least 1 hit. Logan Stickler, the only batter with multiple hits today for the Americans. It's outside for ball 1 on Paul. So Paul takes the ball. Ready for another right here. Upstairs, ball 2. There it is. The breaking ball up by Delanto's helmet. Drops a bit, but not enough for the ump to call strike 1. That'll get in there on the inside edge of the zone. So Red Wings fans who are looking for that strike 1 call, there it is. Delanto with the count in his favor, fouls it off. Things evened up. With 1 on and 1 out. Delanto going to add to this Americans lead. A high breaking ball for another ball on the count. All filled up to Paul Delanto. Big payoff coming up. Swing and a miss. Paul Delanto strikes out on the payoff pitch. 2 down for the Americans. Delanto has had some strikeout issues of late. And it brings up the 7-hitter, Ian Huang. Americans have had 8 hits, but also 17 runners on free. So that's more than double their hit total and more than the total hits between both of these teams. Red Wings pitching needs to get it together if they want to win this game. An upstairs ball 2 to Wang. Ian stands on the day at 0 for 3 with a walk. Takes strike 1 right there. Wang, one of just 2 Americans alongside Evan Core without a hit in this lineup. Fly ball into right field, foul territory, and it'll be the second baseman, Bermudez, with that grab. For out number 3, that ends the inning. The Americans score 1 on the Boyle homer, but the rest retired despite a Price single. We'll send it to the bottom of the 6th after the break.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Jack Turner up to bat as we bring you back for the bottom of the sixth. Brady Tony sticking it out for these Americans despite 7 runs allowed, 6 of them earned. Turner will be followed up in this inning by Zane Barron and Christian Bermudez. Low in the dirt for ball 1. Turner sits at 0 for 1 on the day, fouls off that pitch to even up the count. Goes to the right side, out of play. One pitch from Tony, in the dirt again. Gets away from Delanto briefly, but no runners on, so no further damage than ball 2 on the count. Tony is lined into left field. Ramos backs up, but not going to get there in time. It's a base hit out of Ramos's range. So the leadoff single makes it 7 hits on the day for Geneva. Jack Turner, the first runner on base. Zane Barron up next. Christian Bermudez also due up. And this will be it for Brady Tony. Tony done after 5 innings and change. Get your word on who the new pitcher is in just a moment. It's Carter Hall. Hall, last pitch against the Ironbacks in the doubleheader on Sunday. He's 1-0 with a 10.13 ERA and 3 strikeouts on the season. Carter Hall originally set to go in the doubleheader, was all set to pitch tonight, and here he is. One of 3 Niagara pitchers for these Americans, and that doesn't even include the two-way player Carmen Panaro. So Niagara University providing lots of arms to this American staff, as well as SUNY Niagara, who also provided 4 pitchers to the Americans, and that's excluding Matt Barr, who left the team after being on the roster early in the season. He's getting ready for the MLB draft. Likely 2nd round pick. And Carter Hall comes in with just a single runner on. Jack Turner had the leadoff base hit to bring up Zane Barron, the Red Wings catcher. Hall's next 2 batters he's set to face are Barron and Bermudez, the bottom 2 in the Red Wings order. Americans have doubled up the Red Wings in the run column, but Geneva just 1 hit short of the Americans. Red Wings have walked 12 and hit 5 in this game in just 6 innings of pitching work. 5 2/3 of which has been completed by position players. Brock Raderman and Braden Freeman making their pitching debuts, much needed for a shorthanded Red Wings pitching staff, and Raderman got knocked around for 6 earned runs, 7 total runs, but Braden Freeman, a pleasant surprise, giving up just 1 run over 2 2/3 innings thus far. That run came in the 6th inning. The Americans have scored in every single inning except for inning number 5. Here's Zane Barron, the righty, to face the right-hander Carter Hall. Hall making his first appearance since Sunday, and it's a liner into right field. Core chasing it down, makes the grab for out number 1, and Jack Turner going to have to stay at first base. A nice move for Evan Core, runs all the way from right field to the edge of foul territory. Christian Bermudez up next. He's 1 for 2. Bermudez, a single the first time through the order. Now Geneva in their third time through in inning number 6. Brady Tony pulled for that. Now Turner takes off for second. The throw not in time and offline. Turner thinks about third, but Ramos running towards the ball and scaring Turner out of going for another base. So Jack Turner takes second on the steal. And now Bermudez, the final hitter in the Red Wings order, the third time through, to face Carter Hall, his second customer of the night. Upstairs and away for ball 1. Ball 2, rather. Ball 1 came on that stolen base for Turner. Hall going to briefly meet with Paul Delanto. Had some words for Paul. Luckily an audible called on what pitch he's throwing right here. Paul had no issue with it. Retreats right back to home plate after the word from Carter. Sun is setting here at McDonough Park. Christian Bermudez has the count in his favor against Carter Hall and has a runner in scoring position in Jack Turner. Hall checks back now, delivers inside for ball 3. If this continues on this way, it'll be a 4-pitch walk. Carter Hall looking to recover in this count against Bermudez. A walk here would put 2 ducks on the pond for Zach Banks. There it is. Ball 4, a 4-pitch walk by Carter Hall after the quick out on Zane Barron. And Zach Banks, the third straight killer bee for the Red Wings, up next. With 1 down and 2 on. Turner, the lead runner at second base. Bermudez just took first on the base on balls. Carter Hall delivers on the first pitch to Banks. In there for strike 1 down the pike. Not afraid to attack against one of the best hitters in the league in Zach Banks. Banks, the 0-1 count. He's 1 for 2 on the day with a strikeout and a single. Next pitch from Hall is outside over that righty's batter box. 1 across the board. To number 11, Zach Banks. Really a lot of 1s on the scoreboard. Wish you all could see it. My apologies for the continued technical difficulties preventing use of the camera. But it's 2-1 on the inside ball. It's 2 straight thrown by Hall. Turner and Bermudez have leads on their respective bases. Red Wings have already completed a double steal once. Can they do it again with Zach Banks up to bat? The 2-1 pitch. Upstairs, and here they go. Both runners safe as the Americans tried for Turner, who slid in faster. I'd argue they should have gone for Bermudez there. Could have had him out. But 1 down and 2 runners in scoring position with the count well in the favor of the new batter, Zach Banks, the DH. So both runners in scoring position now for Banks. Line shot into right field. Core coming in to make the catch. But tagging up to score is Jack Turner. He'll be close, but the throw gets away from Delanto. Americans had a chance for the clutch tag at the plate, but it will not come in time. Evan Core has a cannon for an arm, but a little bit erratic on that throw, unfortunately, and the Americans now up just 6 runs on Geneva. Would need 4 in the top of the 7th to get into mercy territory. Sack fly for Zach Banks, and Chase Fogg's up next. Fogg 1 for 3 on the day. Fly ball, foul territory. Graydon Miller lets that go. It's out of play. So first strike on the count. For Carter Hall to the batter Fogg. Red Wings have scored a single run in each of the last 3 innings, and it's an outside ball 1 to even things up here. Those single run innings coming after the 4-piece back in the 3rd inning for Geneva. Then an absolute slugfest here. The record all time for most combined runs in an Americans game is 30. And it's a hit by pitch right there to send Fogg to first base. Chase Fogg a little shaken up. Runners on the corners for Geneva as Dylan Briggs comes up for the 2nd time in the last 2 innings. Red Wings moving through this order quicker as the game goes on. Carter Hall looking to get out of this inning with just 1 run allowed. And that first run was charged to Brady Toney. Hall, first pitch to Briggs is in there on the outside edge for strike 1. Close call. Ump says no to the batter, Briggs. Briggs. Down in the count already. Pitch from Hall goes inside again. Count is even. A lot of balls thrown by Carter Hall. And hit a batter as well. 1 ball, 1 strike. Upstairs at the helmet of Briggs to put the count in his favor. Hall had the advantage early, but now 2 consecutive balls. Dylan Briggs looking to knock in the run from 3rd base. The runner is Christian Bermudez. Upstairs over his head again, and taking 2nd base now is Chase Fogg. Inning started with a Turner single. He came around to score on the sac fly by Banks. 3 balls, 1 strike. The balls have come consecutively from Hall. Here's the pitch. In there for strike 2 on the outside edge again. Carter Hall has found that part of the strike zone he likes with this home plate ump, but has only been able to utilize it twice now. Looking to avoid Briggs catching on and chasing the pitch, potentially making contact. Count is all filled up with 2 outs. Here's the payoff pitch from Carter Hall. Inside, and it'll be ball 4 to load up these bases. 2 down, bases juiced for Aiken Santana. A big moment for the Red Wings. Santana, one of those 2 All-Stars and the cleanup hitter tonight, with the chance to do just that. Would join the other All-Star, Zach Banks, as the only Red Wings to hit home runs this year, if he can achieve that feat right here off of Carter Hall. But Briggs walks and the bases are juiced. Santana takes high for ball 1. It's Fogg on 3rd. Or rather, excuse me, Bermudez on 3rd. Fogg on 2nd. And Briggs on 1st. Hall, the 1-0. Swing and a miss to even things up. Jaden Madrid on deck. Santana out to bat is a tough part of the Red Wings lineup to face. Sun is almost set here in Geneva. In there down the pike for strike 2 from Hall. Hall switching up his strategy, attacking the zone more. Hall looking to end this inning right here with the count in his favor. Can he do it? The pitch fouled off, causing both fences in front of the press box to rattle. Aiken Santana has driven in 14 runs this season. The chance for 2, possibly even 3 or 4 more right here. But Hall looking for that third strike and to get out of this inning. Here's the 1-2. Inside, 2s across the board. Pressure is on for Carter Hall in this 6th inning. Came in for Brady Toney, looking to record all 3 outs without getting charged with an earned run. 2-2 pitch, fouled off again. Aiken Santana really working this count well. Carter Hall not going to have an easy out here. Gonna need a nice pitch on the 2-2 if he wants to strike out Santana. Here's the pitch. It's in the dirt instead. Ball 3. Thankfully, Delanto with a nice stop. And Carter Hall still looking to get out of this inning. Full count, bases loaded, 2 down. It's about the most exciting baseball can get. Here's the payoff pitch. It's behind the batter. Everybody coming around. The Red Wings add another. It's 14-9. The full count walk by Carter Hall. He's in trouble as Jaden Madrid comes up to bat. Madrid 0 for 2 on the day with a walk. Will Cordero coming out to meet with Carter. That RBI walk knocking in Christian Bermudez. And now Madrid looking to further expand this inning with the bases juiced. Carter Hall. He's been looking for that third out for a while now. Has walked his last 2 batters after hitting Chase Fogg. First pitch in there for strike 1 down the pike. Breaking ball drops in on Madrid of Emmanuel College. Spent 2 years at Herkimer. Now headed to Emmanuel. Led Herkimer with 45 stolen bases. Surprising he's not in the leadoff spot for this team. It's an outside ball 1 to even things up with 2 down. Red Wings have scored 9 on just 7 hits. The Americans have scored 14 on just 8 hits. Unbelievable what free bags can do. Grounder picked up by Prey. And he'll make the tag on the running to third base. The runner running to third base, my apologies. Dylan Briggs tagged out on the way to third. That'll do it for inning number 6. We'll send it to the top of the 7th after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
thanks,
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
Back for the top of the 7th here at McDonough Park. The Americans lead 14-9 over the Red Wings. And a new shortstop for the Red Wings, Casey Burkroff. Burkroff coming in for Chase Fogg. 190 hitter and a 591 OPS on the year. Has played against these Americans before, but this 7th inning is brought to you by Elks Lodge of Niagara Falls, Bikers Against Child Abuse, the Stalka Agency, and Red Robin Gourmet Burgers and Brews. Evan Core takes the strike to start things off against Braden Freeman, still pitching, looking to go for more than 3 innings in this one, in his first ever outing as a Red Wing as a pitcher. Fouled off for strike 2 on Core. Freeman looking for strike 3 right here. Instead, it's an outside ball 1 to Evan. Core, one of just 2 Americans without a hit, but he has gotten on plenty. Walked 3 times. Dodges that one inside. It's 2-2 on the count. Evan Core looking for his 4th walk of the day. Red Wings have also hit 5 batters and 5 times through this order. The first 4 times through is the first 4 hitters in the order in that order. Fly ball into center field, caught by Dylan Briggs for out number 1. So Core's retired early, 1 down. Logan Stickler up next. Stickler's 2 for 3, the only American with multiple hits today. Has his first RBI of the year as well at long last. Last time he took a crack at that, it was a home run that was overturned against Batavia as he hesitated back towards the dugout. I think it may have gone foul. Ball 1 in the dirt to Stickler. Another breaking ball, and it stays high for ball 2. Freeman, not exactly the fastest of pitchers, but has been effective so far for Geneva. Line shot down the third base line for the base hit. Stickler has his 3rd knock of the day. He's heating up for the Americans. And it's back up to the top of the order with Grant Moore. Moore has Stickler on base again as the Americans get their 9th hit of the day off the bat of Logan. He's had a 1/3 of the hits total. Moore is 1 for 2 with a pair of walks and a hit by pitch. Was retired for the very first time, the 5th time through the order. Strike 1 on Moore. On a breaking ball that ends up right down the pike. Slightly towards the inside part of the plate. Generally up the middle. Pop up. Down the third base line. Foul territory, drops out of play towards the Americans' dugout for strike 2. Very rare you see an 0-2 count on Grant Moore. But he'll look to recover anyways. Moore gets whacked on the knee. And on the 6th time through the order, he gets hit a 2nd time. My goodness, this is out of control. 6 times through the order, 6 batters whacked. Alan Ramos up next. Ramos, 1 for 2, 2 walks, also got hit. So, identical stat line to Grant Moore. Prayers for Ramos here that he doesn't get hit a 2nd time as well. Instead, it's a grounder, gets to Burkroff at short, out at 2nd. The throw to first is not in time. And now gets away from the first baseman, Sardu. All runners advance. Run coming in the form of Logan Stickler. The Americans lead at 15-9. Not a home run. My apologies for that graphical error, but Runners on first, or rather just second after the out at second base, and Ramos advancing there. Stickler managed to score on that. Goes in as an advance on the error and a reach on the fielder's choice. And hits Gavin Boyle. That's 7 batters hit. Boyle is not happy. He is launching his gloves and equipment towards the Americans' dugout. Shane Prey coming over to clean up. And Boyle is hobbling over to first base. We'll hope he's all right. Boyle whacked on the leg. Now seems to be all right, headed towards second. Throw to second base is errant. Ramos takes off for third. And it's runners on the corners. Gavin Boyle staying at first base, and Graydon Miller up to bat. Braden Freeman has hit 2 batters in this inning. Boyle, the latest victim. So 7 hit batters and 12 walked. 19 total free bags for the Americans. So tradition over in the Liberty League, where I last called baseball before the Americans. I mean, Hobart's in the Liberty League. They play here. High chopper over the head of the pitcher, Freeman. Throw to first is not in time. Another run scores on the RBI. Infield single by Graydon. Americans now lead 16-9. And with 2 down, they are looking to get into mercy territory with a rally here. Swing and a miss for strike 1 on Prey. Grant Moore comes in to score for the 4th time. Or rather, that was Ramos. 1-1 on this count. Prey has 1 hit already today, looking for his second. Gets in there on the outside edge for strike 2. So Braden Freeman, 1 strike away. Can he get the strikeout against Prey? Would be Shane's first K of the day. Not going to come yet. Outside ball 2. 2's across the board. Americans now with 10 hits. And that ball 3 gets away from the catcher, Barron. Gavin Boyle headed home. He slides in just in time. Americans up 17-9, and all the way on third base now, Graydon Miller. The Americans want to put this game to bed, and they are close. The mercy-forcing run up to the plate now in the form of Shane Prey. And he has a full count. Americans have 10 hits. 10th of which coming off the bat of Miller in this inning. On the infield single. High chopper over Freeman's head. This one a fly ball, foul territory, and chasing it down is Jack Turner, but it goes out of play. Into the bullpen for Geneva. Count still full. Braden Freeman with a huge moment here. Can give the Red Wings at least another inning, but instead walks Shane Prey. Runners on the corners with 2 down. That mercy-forcing run is now on base for Paul Delanto. And Paul Delanto hit a grand slam against these Red Wings back a month ago. If he hits a home run here, would tie the all-time run record for the Americans and would get them into mercy position. That's fouled off for strike 1 by Pauly. The Red Wings have improved significantly on offense every time they've seen the Americans, scoring 9 runs in this one. They have more than doubled their season-long run total against the Americans in this game. Count is 1-1 on Delanto. Takes another outside and into the dirt. Delanto gives the stop sign to Graydon Miller from third base. St. Barron made a nice stop there, and Delanto wants to prevent a cheap out number 3 for Geneva. Big cut and miss now by Paulie. It's 2s across the board. Paul Delanto. 1 for 4 on the day with a walk, looking to get on base for a third time. Would be a great time to do it. Delanto fouls one off for now to stay alive in the at-bat. The Americans, this is their 3rd inning scoring 3 runs or more. Has happened in the 1st, 4th, and 7th innings. So every 3 innings, a big one for the Americans. Delanto gets whacked right on the arm. That's officially 20 free bags given up by the Red Wings. This is out of control for Geneva. And the last time I called baseball, as I was saying earlier, was before the Americans, was the Liberty League playoffs. Hobart's in the Liberty League, but was not in the tournament. But some teams there love to chant free bag alert every time those walks and hit by pitches were taken. Certainly a free bag alert all day long for the Americans. Inside ball 1 to Ian Huang. Huang remains one of just 2 Americans without a hit, has gotten on base just once. Or rather twice, had a fielder's choice, but 1-1 to Huang. Two down and the bases juiced. Ian Huang needs to get on here to keep this inning going. Foul ball right over the press box for the 2nd strike. Braden Freeman again finds himself 1 strike away, but he's been waiting for that 3rd out for a while. Since out number 2 on Alan Ramos, it's been a hit by pitch, infield single, walk and hit by pitch. Another outside and high ball to make it 2s across the board here to Ian. Huang has batted on the left side most of the night. Had that one righty at bat against Brock Raderman. But taken far inside to fill up the count again. The Red Wings have already thrown 188 pitches in this game. Payoff pitch here is a fly ball into center field. All runners going, and Briggs coming in, but instead it's Christian Bermudez backing up to make the grab. That buys Geneva at least the 8th inning, and they'll have the chance to tack on in the 7th and expand this game further. We'll be right back with the bottom of the inning.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Bottom of the 7th. Hall and Delanto warming up to face these Red Wings. Second inning of work for Carter coming up. And it'll be Michael Sardu due up for Geneva, as well as Tim Bowerman and Jack Turner. And here's Sardu. In the 7th inning, we remind you that the Americans would love to partner with your business. The Americans have lots of options to make your presence known in your community. Please visit their website at www.niagarafallsamericans.com to get involved. Line shot into left field for the base hit and more. Sardu headed towards second for another double. Michael Sardu has a pair of two-baggers tonight. Runner on second. 8th hit of the day for Geneva. Carter Hall with some more trouble in his second inning going. Tim Bowerman with the runner in scoring position. Bowerman sits at 0 for 3. Big cut and miss for strike one. It's only the 7th inning and almost 3 hours into this game. Hall delivers on the 0-1. It's upstairs, parallel to the helmet of Bowerman. Count is even. And unbelievably, just the 4th time through Geneva's order. Check swing, he went. 1-2. Carter Hall looking for his first out of the inning and 4th of the night. Relieved Brady Toney after 5 innings and change. Two errors apiece for these teams tonight as well. Big cut and miss for strike 3. Carter Hall, at long last, has his first strikeout of the night. It's on Tim Bowerman. Bowerman striking out for the 2nd time. Jack Turner's up next. Turner started off that 2-run 6th inning with a hit. He's 1 for 2 on the day and came around to score twice. Pitch from Hall inside for ball 1 to start things off on Turner. Turner initially from Haddon Heights, New Jersey. Will improve upon his .216 batting average coming in most likely. Hall, the throw to second is errant. Taking off for third is Michael Sardu. The throw back not in time either. Sardu thought about home, but Carter Hall coming over to cover and prevent that. My goodness. The pickoff attempt gone wrong for Carter Hall. Another error for the Americans, this one on the pitcher, Carter Hall. Still 1-0 on the count. When your pitcher is missing throws like that, it's not a great sign, but Hall's certainly bringing the heat. One's across the board on that cut and miss. Gets Turner to chase on the low pitch. Americans only out hitting the Red Wings by 2 hits, but outscoring them by 8. Sardu's on third. Another swing and miss. Carter Hall with 2 of them consecutively, looking for a second straight strikeout now. Can he get it right here on the 1-2 pitch? Check swing, gets in there anyways. Strike 3 looking. It's 2 down on the Red Wings. So Jack Turner takes strike 3. And now it's Zane Barron up to bat. 2 consecutive strikeouts by Carter Hall. Looking to make it 3 in a row against Zane Barron, who's 1 for 2 on the night. Low and away for ball 1. 5 total errors in this game, and aside from those errors, Geneva has walked 13 and hit 7 of these Americans. In there on the outside edge, it's 1-1. Barron comes from Hillsborough Community College. Struggled in his first year of JUCO, doing a little better here this summer. Certainly a summer to build on. Has solidified himself in the catching rotation with Tyler Skaggs here in Geneva. Check swing, pulled back. That'll be ball 2. Barron from Daytona Beach, Florida. I mean, brought the heat with him today at least. 2-1 is inside at his knees. Zane Barron looking to take a walk. It would be the 6th Geneva's taken today. Does not compare to the 13 the Americans have taken, but nonetheless, a lot of them. Fly ball into shallow center. Ramos backing up, but more coming in. Makes the grab for out number 3. We send it to the top of the 8th inning. The Americans looking to end this in this 8th. We'll see if they can do it after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
Top of the 8th here on the Americans Baseball Network. The Americans up by 8. Looking to end this game right here in the 8th inning. 8th inning here on the Americans Baseball Network is brought to you by Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino, the official casino of the Americans. More winning, more comfort, more entertainment. Go to SenecaNiagaraCasino.com for more. Evan Core will kick things off for a 2nd straight inning. The Americans had all 9 batters up a single time in the 7th. Scored 3 runs off of it. Evan Core finds himself 0 for 2 with a trio of walks. Flew out to start the 7th inning. Core started off the year batting .538. It's cooled off significantly since then. Was dropped down in the order after being in the 2 spot for a good portion of late June, early July. It's strike 1 on the outside edge to Evan. Another one in a similar spot, but that's called for a ball. Just outside and low. And just misses the corner. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Even further out. Core with the count in his favor. Braden Freeman, in his first appearance pitching, has gone 3 2/3 already. Core grounds that to Burcroft. Burcroft bobbles it. The throw will be errant. Evan Core heads to second base on the error. 3 errors apiece now for these teams, and Evan Core makes it to second base on that one. A costly error for Geneva and another free bag. My goodness, this has gotten out of control. The free bag alerts continue for the Americans. A bobble on the field by Burcroft, and then an errant throw as well. Just everything wrong with that throw. Stickler with a runner in scoring position. It's upstairs for ball one. Core has a lead on second base. Stickler takes another one upstairs parallel to his helmet. Makes it 2-0. Big cut and miss by Stickler. There's the strike that Freeman's been waiting for. Officially ruled a reach in advance on the error. Stickler flies that into left field. And it's caught by Jaden Madrid for out number one. So one down, Core stranded at second. And it's back up to the top of the order with Graham Moore. The amount of times Moore has come up to the plate this season, can almost hear his walk-up song even when the Americans aren't at home. Justin Timberlake at his best. Core dancing on his lead at second base, trying to taunt Braden Freeman. It's inside for ball one to Graham Moore. Freeman keeping eagle eyes on Grant, trying to ignore the base runner. Moore represents the mercy-forcing run, fouls it off to put ones across the board. He's 1 for 2 on the day with a pair of walks, also has been hit twice. So he's gotten on base 4 times, not exactly, or rather 5 times, not exactly the ways you'd want to see it, but a time on base is a time on base, and he's scored on 3 of those occasions. The 2-1 pitch with Core still on second base. Bigger and bigger lead. Timeout. That was brief. Now Moore back in the batter's box. Bat hovering over his shoulder. Outside, ball 3 to Grant. Looking for his 3rd walk of the day to make it runners on first and second for Alan Ramos. Ramos has reached base 4 times as well. Another one outside. Grant Moore takes off his things and takes off for first. Chance for a double steal here with Moore and Core. These are the 2 stolen base leaders for the Americans. Alan Ramos up next, another speedster. Core has 13 stolen bases. Moore at 33. Meeting on the mound with Freeman. See if his day is done. Appears that it is. Red Wings looking to save the game. And Malachi Morgan coming in. And there's multiple ways to save a baseball game. The traditional save, coming in a close lead, but this is another one. Because if the Americans score 2 runs, they get into mercy territory, and all they need is a 1-2-3. Malachi Morgan, looking to be the man to prevent that. 1-3 with a 16.20 ERA and 7 strikeouts, but the big contrast from Brock Raderman and Braden Freeman is the fact that this is far from Morgan's first pitching appearance for the Red Wings. Red Wings had position players pitching for all but 2 outs so far in this game. There's been a lot of crazy things happening here tonight at McDonough Park. But Malachi Morgan looking to bring the stability for Geneva. And looking to give them a fighting chance to come back in this game as Alan Ramos is set to hit against the right-hander. barring any pinch hitters, Will Cordero could turn to one of his lefties here to face the right-hander Morgan. Has Tommy Mathay and Derek Gismondi on the bench, as well as Carmen Panaro. All three quality left-handed hitters. Runners on first and second, and it will indeed be Alan Ramos to bat. Ramos, 1 for 3 tonight, 2 walks and a hit by pitch. So he has reached on 4 out of 6 times. This is the 7th time through the Americans' order. Very rare that it gets to that point in a baseball game, but ball 1 on Allen right here. Especially in the PGCBL with the mercy rule, how many times can you go 7 times through the order? Also, usually 10 batter lineups, but today the Americans batting 9, which is further exacerbating this. Nonetheless, still a lot of batters faced for Geneva. That's in there for strike 1 on Ramos. Breaking ball finally drops in for Morgan. Runners on are Core and Moore. Core, the lead runner, both have a lead at their respective bases. Ramos, the liner, into left field, over the head of Burkroff for the base hit. Evan Core stops at third as that's cut off in the outfield. Bases are juiced. You would expect maybe some runs to score with the speedsters on the base paths, but it's the 11th hit of the day for the Americans. And Gavin Boyle is up with the bases loaded. The chance to clean him up, even though he's not actually the cleanup hitter. He's the number 3 in the order, but nonetheless, already has 1 home run tonight. If he hits a second here, this game will be all but over if it isn't already. Boyle instead, a liner into left field. That'll be another base hit, and the attempt to cut it off, botched by Madrid. Boyle in a second, now headed towards third. All 3 runners scoring. A bases clearing knock for Gavin Boyle. The Americans now lead 20-9. The chance to mercy this game on a huge hit by Gavin Boyle. 12th hit of the day. It will be ruled a triple for Gavin. So bases clearing triple. Gavin Boyle has had a triple and a homer tonight. And it's his 2nd game this season that he's had a triple and a homer in the same game. That first one coming on the 4th of July against the Muck Dogs. Americans lost that one, but winning big here tonight. Graydon Miller takes consecutive inside balls with Gavin Boyle eager to score. Scored himself on a home run earlier. Now strike 1 to Graydon. But Boyle has 5 RBIs tonight. Foul ball. Makes it 2-2 on the count to Graydon. Pitch from Morgan is a ground ball. Picked up by Santana at third. The throw across the field is in time for out number 2. Aiken Santana with a nice throw. That'll retire Miller. Boyle comes in to score on it, and it's 21-9 Americans. Shane Prey up to bat. Swings and misses on strike 1 there. Bases are now empty with Gavin Boyle coming in on the ground out by Graydon. Miller up to 5 RBIs on the night as well. Him and Boyle tied for the team lead in this game. 1-1 to Shane Prey now. down the pike for strike 2. And the Red Wings got to start their prayers, because this one could come down to the bottom of the 8th inning. And the Americans may not even be done, as Shane Prey has 2s across the board. 21 runs is officially the most runs in Americans team history. They have hit that tonight. They've also tied the all-time record for total runs scored between both teams in an Americans game. So a record-breaking game, and Prey lines that into the outfield for another base hit. This inning is not even over. The Americans could just cleanly break that record. 13th hit of the day for Niagara Falls. Their record on hits is 17. Paul Delanto up next. We are over the 3-hour marker in this game. It seemed never-ending. Hit and free bag after hit and free bag, and the wild pitch will allow Shane Prey to get to second. So another runner in scoring position for the Americans. The more runs that score, the more likely they will be able to mercy the Red Wings in the bottom of the inning. Up 12, so the Red Wings would have to score 3 to avoid the mercy rule, and that's if the Americans stop scoring here. Pitch from Morgan, low, to make it 2-0 on the count. Prey took second on the wild pitch. And now Delanto has a trio of balls on the count. Paul Delanto 1 for 4 with a pair of RBIs and a walk. Strike 1 on the 3-ball count to Delanto. A fun fact, Graydon Miller, with 5 RBIs tonight to Grant Moore's 1, has tied the team lead in RBIs. Ground ball and the throw to first from Burkroff in time this time around. So the Americans lead by 12. Geneva needs 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th to keep this game going. Can they do it, or will the Americans win by mercy? We'll find out after these messages.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Back for the bottom of the 8th. The Americans looking to complete this mercy victory against Geneva. Christian Bermudez, the first customer for Carter Hall in this inning, and it's strike 1 on the swing and miss. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight and remind everyone that an Americans game is a great way to bring your group together, whether it's a school, church, business, or youth sports organization. The Americans are able to offer great options and even picnics for your organization or business. Reserve your group online at www.niagarafallsamericans.com. 0-2 on the count, and the Americans have broken their all-time record in runs scored. Swing and a miss. Christian Bermudez goes down on 3 pitches. Red Wings chasing everything in a desperation effort. Down 12, they need 3 runs to keep this game alive. And they just have 2 more outs to get there. Zach Banks is up next. Ball 1 to Banks on the outside. Carter Hall looking to end this inning and this game right here. It's a fly ball in the left center field. Coming in is Gavin Boyle. He'll make the grab in left for out number 2. And Casey Burkroff, the final hope for the Red Wings in this game. A trio of Bs again for the Red Wings. I don't know if I'd call them killer. Down 12 runs, but Burkroff, the last hope for the Red Wings, takes a strike down the pike from Carter Hall. Not afraid to attack. He knows that these Red Wings have struggled at the plate over these last couple of innings. They did have 9 runs today, but it won't be enough. Red Wings pitching unraveled from the very beginning and could never recover. 2 position players had to pitch the bulk of the game for Geneva. It's now 1-1 on the count. And this game tied the all-time record for the Americans on total runs between them and their opponent in a game, and it also broke their record on runs scored. 2-1 with 2 down to Casey Burkroff. Hall looking for that final out to get this over with. 2s across the board. 1 strike away. Can Carter Hall strike out his final batter? Or will Casey Burkroff keep this game alive? 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. So Burkroff extends it at least 1 more pitch. The total pitch count in this game between the two teams is approaching 350. Those are unheard of numbers. It's actually exceeded 350. 2-2 pitch again. Fly ball into left field foul territory. Gavin Boyle chasing it down, but it goes out of play. So 5 pitches on this at bat. And puts the total in the game at 361 between the two teams. Total for the Americans at 143. Geneva threw 218 pitches in 8 innings. Hall looking for that final strike. That's another foul ball. Two's on the count and 2 down. Hall. It's another outside ball. To fill up this count on Casey Burkroff. The final hope for Geneva. Will he get on base here, or will this inning end? Here's the payoff pitch. Line drive into left field foul territory. Shane Prey chasing it down again, goes out of play. Casey Burkroff fighting this count. He's the last legs for Geneva. Would be the largest victory margin all season for the Americans, outside of the 20-3 victory over Geneva as well. Payoff pitch. Liner over the head of Ian Wang, and the Red Wings are not dead yet. Burkroff takes first base on the base hit. Count is reset. Americans aren't going to get out that easy. Dylan Briggs up next. Briggs, fourth straight B last name to bat for the Red Wings. And the last hope for Geneva. Takes one over the head for ball one. This is not the time for Carter Hall to lose the strike zone. Can win the Americans the game, save the arms ahead of tomorrow's doubleheader against the Pioneers. First pitch in that one will be at 4 p.m. And then it'll be right around 6 p.m. for the second game. One's on the count. Pitch from Hall. Check swing, pulled back in time on the ball in the dirt. Count is still in Briggs' favor. Dylan Briggs on the day is 1 for 3. Chance to get on base again here with the count in his favor. Outside ball 3. Briggs, product of Montclair State, has a runner on first base in the form of Burcroft. Can he extend this game for Geneva? 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Counts all filled up, but Burcroft takes second base to get into scoring position. Another full count for Carter Hall, another chance to end this game. Can he do it here? Hall could get the long save. Swing and a miss. Game over. The Americans win 21-9 by the mercy rule. 21 runs, 13 hits, 3 errors apiece for both teams, but nonetheless, the Americans breaking their all-time record in runs scored. An unbelievable game for the Bats, and they'll look to carry this momentum into their game in Elmira, or rather their doubleheader in Elmira. Those games, 4 p.m. and